How's it, everyone? Welcome to Open Court. So I got another string review for you guys today, and it's a string that's exclusive to Tennis Warehouse, and that is the Head Lynx Spin2. Let's check it out. So the Head Lynx Spin2 is a new string released by Head, and Tennis Warehouse collaborated directly with Head. They had a lot of input into the manufacturing of this string, and so this is exclusive to tenniswarehouse.com. So the name Lynx would suggest that this is part of the Head Lynx family, and that is true to an extent, but you cannot find these strings by themselves on the market. These are exclusive to this hybrid. So this is a poly-poly hybrid. Most people hybrid with polyester and a synthetic, or a polyester and a natural gut. This is a 2-in-1 poly hybrid, which is getting a lot more popular these days. So as you guys can see from the packaging here, one of the strings is a shaped poly and the other is a round smooth poly, and they are in different gauges. So these are the two hybrid sets that the Lynx Spin2 comes with. This orange string is a 130 shaped poly, and this is recommended for the mains, and this blue string is a 125mm gauge round smooth poly, and it's recommended for the crosses. So the reason why the orange shaped string should go in the mains is because this is the one that's going to grab the ball, and the blue round poly in the cross is nice and smooth, so it's going to allow the mains, the orange string, to slide and snap back and get a little bit more spin, which is why this string is called the Spin2. Also, the orange shaped string is supposed to be softer, and the blue string is supposed to be a little stiffer. So this will also give you a little bit more comfort by putting this in the mains. Just because it says that this should be the mains and this should be the crosses doesn't mean that you have to. You can put the blue round poly, the stiffer poly, in the mains if you think it'll give you a little bit more control. But Head and Tennis Warehouse recommends the orange shaped string go in the mains and the blue round strings go in the cross. So that is what I am going to string it up in. So this new poly-poly hybrid set is exclusive to Tennis Warehouse, and there's virtually no other information on this string besides from what you can see on the Tennis Warehouse product page. So I'm going to just get this strung up, and I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to play with it for a week, and I'm going to see how this plays. So let's get on the court and find out. So I strung the Head Lynx Spin2 hybrid set in my Head Graphene 360 Radical Pro. I strung it at 52 pounds in the mains and 50 in the cross. The main strings are supposed to be softer than the blue cross strings, which is why I strung it a little bit tighter in the mains, but I usually do this anyway because by stringing it looser in the mains, it's supposed to allow the mains to snap back a little bit more, and the tight 16-19 string pattern of the Radical Pro, I strung it in this mostly because I thought it would look nice in this blue and orange racket, and it does. But this tight 16-19 pattern gets a decent amount of spin, but I was really looking to see if this Head Lynx Spin hybrid would unlock a little bit more spin. And to my surprise, it actually did. So let's get into the pros and cons of the Head Lynx Spin2. So what are the good things about the Head Lynx Spin2 hybrid? Well, it definitely delivers on its promise of getting good spin. I personally think that maybe Solinco Tour Bite has more spin levels than this Head Lynx, but the Tour Bite comes in thinner gauges, which does affect the spin level. This is a 130 main, so I think if it were thinner, it would definitely get more, but it does provide a decent amount of spin because of the way the string is shaped, and it slides very well on the smooth round poly. Because the main strings are also slightly on the softer side, it does get a decent amount of power. I felt a lot of power behind my serve on the flat serves and the slices especially. If the string is too low powered, I tend to hit these serves into the net, but my Flat and slice serves were clearing the net easily with this Lynx spin setup, and I was finding good levels of control. I could take big rips from the baseline, step in and attack returns. The spin definitely kept my aggressive returns inside the baseline, which I really liked because I could dictate pace even when I was returning. Also, the spin levels shined on the underspin slices. When I chip in charge or when I hit an aggressive slice, I could see the ball bouncing to the side, and it really forced my opponents to bend their knees and dig it up, which allowed me to close the net and attack the ball. I could use my slice as a weapon, which is difficult to do with a lot of the standard polys out there. Also, the tension maintenance is respectable. Because the mains are a little bit softer, it does lose a little bit of tension gradually, but it's not that noticeable, especially because the cross strings are a little bit stiffer. It doesn't drop off a cliff. It definitely doesn't hold tension as well as some of the other stiffer polys, but it's way better than some of the softer polys that I've used recently. Like for example, regular Head Lynx, which is a very soft string, that string loses tension after the first day. At the very least, the Lynx Spin2 holds tension way better than that one. Also, due to its construction, it's a round, smooth poly in the cross, which doesn't saw into the mains, and the main strings are a 130 gauge. This string is very durable. If you don't care that much about tension maintenance or the change in the response of the string bed, and you're the type of person that plays until a string snaps, I think the Head Lynx Spin, you'll be able to get a solid month or two of aggressive hitting before this string breaks. And lastly, I just want to touch on the response, because the feel is something that I look at very crucially when it comes to judging a string. The response for the Head Lynx Spin hybrid is somewhere between dead and crisp. It's definitely not as crisp as Alupower, Tour Bite, Polytour Fire, but it's definitely not as dead as Vocal Cyclone or Babala RPM Blast. It was somewhere in the middle. I had a difficult time adjusting a bit, but it wasn't really a problem after a while. It definitely got used to the response. So for those of you who like a deader playing string, this could be a good option for you because it gets phenomenal control, especially on ground strokes from the baseline. Next, let's get into the cons. So for me personally, the biggest con of this string was that it definitely felt a little stiffer than I expected, because the packaging said the main strings, the orange ones, were supposed to be soft. And when I was stringing it, I felt it was a little bit on the softer side, but when I actually took it out on the court, it felt stiffer than I expected. If I were to use this string again, I would definitely drop the tension a bit, maybe go 50 in the mains and 48 in the cross. Because it is also thicker than I usually use, it did feel stiffer. It bothered me a little bit, especially on when I hit off center on aggressive returns. I felt it in my arm a little bit. I don't have elbow problems, but this, if I'm not careful, this string could potentially give it to me. And so if your arm is really sensitive, I wouldn't try this, or if you were to try it, definitely string it lower. Secondly, this is kind of a personal gripe, but I wish the main was a 125mm gauge, because as you guys know, I like thin gauge strings. They get more feel, more power, more touch, more spin. If the main purpose of this hybrid is to get more spin, I don't understand why they made it a 130, maybe to increase tension maintenance or to make it last longer, but a 125mm main would definitely get even more levels of spin, which I personally would have wanted to see. I think the cross strings being a smooth poly will definitely aid in the durability, because it's not going to saw into the mains, so I don't think it would be a detriment if the main strings were thinner. Maybe even come out with a new Head Lynx Spin thinner gauge, which 125 in the mains and 120 in the cross. I would definitely give that a try if something like that existed. And lastly, because earlier I said the response lies somewhere between dead and crisp, this string did not have quite enough touch for my game. I like to serve and volley. I like to be able to feel the ball on my strings. I like to slice. I like to hit drop shots. Those types of shots where I really need to feel connected to the ball. The Lynx Spin did not quite give me those levels of touch and control. I felt myself dropping a lot of drop shots into the net, some were not even reaching the net at times, or I was over pushing my slices when I was trying to go wide. I want to be able to feel the ball a little bit more, and Solinco Tour Bite or Head Lynx Tour is a prime example of a type of string that has the response that I'm looking for. The Head Lynx Spin doesn't come anywhere close in terms of the crispness and the liveliness that Head Lynx Tour plays with. It's a little bit closer to Head Hawk Touch in my opinion, which is more dead and control oriented. So if you like those types of strings that you don't have to worry about the ball flying long when you take really big rips, the Head Lynx Spin has that level of response, but for me it just didn't quite fit my game where I use a lot of touch and feel. So who is the Head Lynx Spin2 for? Well, it's for those people who want to get more spin and control out of their string setup, obviously. But it's also a good recommendation for those of you who want to try a poly-poly hybrid but have never tried it before. You can just get this Head Lynx Spin. It's already a hybrid set of poly-poly, so it's really convenient, and this could be a good venture into the world of poly-poly hybrids. The Head Lynx Spin2 is a very interesting string. I do wish that they made the main strings a 125, or possibly even you can mix and match your gauges. That would be kind of interesting because I do like thinner strings, and I think this would get even more spin if the main strings were thinner than 130. So the Head Lynx Spin, unfortunately it's only available on Tennis Warehouse, but I recommend giving it a try if you're looking for more spin and control. It is a little bit stiff, but I think most advanced players will be able to use this and be able to get a decent amount of spin and control. I hope other manufacturers would follow Head's example and start coming out with pre-packaged poly-poly hybrids, because I'm definitely curious to try more of these in the future. Thanks for watching this string review of the Head Lynx Spin2. This is a Tennis Warehouse exclusive string, so right now you can only find it at Tennis Warehouse, but if you guys are interested in checking it out, I'll leave the link to the product page down below. If you guys like this content and want to see more like it, be sure you overhead smash that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you on an open court.